Right now, the future may appear to be a little uncertain, but there are steps you can take right now to prepare for your financial future. It all starts with making a life plan. So we'd like to welcome back our expert in estate planning, David Carrier, along with two employees in his office, Heather and Elise. Thanks for joining us this morning on 8West. So David, let's talk about exactly what you're doing now and really how you've been able to bring your team back together.
Right. Well, you know, we're preparing for the future because this virus thing isn't over when it's over. There are ongoing consequences to it. And I believe that in the next few months, we're going to see a real flood into the long-term care situation, simply because it is affecting older people, number one. And number two, even when you're over it, you're not over it. So, you know, we're gearing up now for that future. One of the things, too, you know, people think, oh, you know, government programs, they're not for me. How do they, you know, you hear about things in Washington, you think it has no impact or no local effect. And this paycheck protection program that they've done, people think the same way about Medicaid. You know, they think, oh, that's not for me, when it very much is. Well, this paycheck protection thing, this is where they said, okay, we'll loan you enough money to bring your people back. And if you bring your people back, then we'll forgive the loan at some point. Now, we're hoping that happens. But we needed the team back because we were still working. You know, we had down to a skeleton crew, about half of the folks were still on board. But we did get the money. It's federal dollars. Thank you, American taxpayers. You're the ones who made it possible. And what we've decided to do is, rather than just say, oh, thanks, you know, you gave us the money, we're going to keep it. Instead, what we're doing is we're offering credits for all the new work that gets done in the next 2 months. There'll be credits for you to reduce the fees. We're not, you know, the federal money, it's federal money. It's great. Thank you, American taxpayers. You made it possible to bring the team back. It's not easy getting a team together and hanging on to it. Very, very important. But we're not going to just hang on to it. You know, we're reducing our fees. We're basically passing it on, you know, paying it forward. That's really been important for us.
Right, and a big way you've been able to do that is to bring back your team members. So we have invited Heather and Elise here with us. Elise, what has this meant for you? Describe what had gone on for you in your life since really back in early March to this point.
Absolutely. It's been about 6 weeks and I'm glad to be back. Tuesday was my first day. Feels like a brand new day. But I also want to thank David for bringing the team back and keeping our doors open and knowing that I am secure coming back to his commitment to the company and to our clients. And as we serve them, it gives me hope knowing that there is a strong recovery and a future.
And what are the kinds of things that you're actually assisting clients with right now on a regular basis? Elise, are you noticing that there are a lot of people reaching out to do that estate planning, to make sure that they do have their financial house in order, and all those other types of documents, from a living will to an actual will and all of that sort of thing?
Sure. With the short time that I have been back, I have seen an upswing with the eagerness to get documents set and straight, because it is important. We are in a pandemic and you need those documents to be secure and at hand. So knowing that people are taking this seriously and we are taking the alternative and finding different methods to provide our services and support them by phone, virtual, our drive-by service if we must. And it's a great feeling knowing that we still have family that wants to return to Carrier Law.
And are you seeing new clients? Are you having a lot of people reaching out to you maybe for the first time?
Yes, absolutely. It's the documents. They need those wills and POAs, especially during these struggling times. They need those documents. And even as a young person like myself, I never thought about getting a will or POA until I started working with Carrier Law. Those are important because it can happen to any age, to anyone.
Exactly. Yeah, having that power of attorney, of course, is so important along with that will. So Heather, you're fairly new on David Carrier's team. Let's talk about what this has meant for you to be able to re-enter the workforce now.
Absolutely. I started with Carrier at the very end of January, and I made a complete career change. So being able to start somewhere new was very exciting for me. I wanted to learn everything that I could about, any sort of wills, trusts, powers of attorneys, that estate planning that you essentially need that I had no knowledge about. When everything happened in March, I was very worried that I was not going to have a place to come back to. I didn't have any idea what was my future going to be. I'm very thankful for David. He put a lot of work into getting this loan from the American people, which is amazing. And it's very exciting to be called back, to come back to work, to be able to continue to serve these people. And like Elise said, even people our age need to get our documents in order, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We didn't expect this pandemic by any means. So
exactly, getting all of that paperwork together. And I know that's something, David, that you have stressed over and over again. People don't know what tomorrow may bring. And so if you are in the position where you have to go into the hospital, you go in there now without a family member able to come alongside with you. That can really put people in a vulnerable position.
Well, we talk to clients, who feel that way, who come out of the rehab, and just a sense of isolation when they're in a long-term care situation, very, very, very difficult. And, most people kind of put this stuff off until there's a wake-up call. And sometimes it's a diagnosis of yourself, your spouse, you see something happened to somebody at church. If this isn't a wake-up call, geez, I don't know what is. And so the phone has been ringing off the hook. We are doing an awful lot of work, and we're doing it safely. We're doing it deliberately. We've got masks, and we're not wearing masks right now, obviously. But if there are two people in a room, we're wearing masks. Yeah. We've got disinfectant everywhere. I mean, it's taking this really very, very seriously.
A little bit of a bummer that I was going to say a little bit of a bummer. The typical plate of cookies are not on display now at your office, but at some point those will come back. So David, let's talk about the virtual life plan workshops. You've actually allowed people now to be able to watch those like a webinar, so people can actually start going through that process right now while they're at home.
That's right. That's right. It's not the same, obviously, as the in-person webinar. And we're actually developing one that will be more interactive, so that you can, text your questions and you can raise your hand, like this kind of thing, the go-to-meeting sort of thing.
Yeah, that is really nice. So let's talk about once everything does resume, are you in the position right now where you're able to file all those documents with the courts, or is it some courts that you're able to interact with at this point? Will there be a flood of paperwork that people will really want to make sure that they get submitted?
Sure. We got this loan. I'll tell you, we got this loan because we were Johnny on the spot, because between the people in the firm and the folks at the bank, they knew there was going to be a rush. They knew, and they got us to the head of the line. And we're doing that for our clients, because when this thing all kind of calms down, there's an awful lot of work that hasn't been done. There's an awful lot of folks who are putting off the long-term care. They're putting off treatment, all kinds of stuff. And we're working right now very hard to make sure that when the doors open again, our folks will be at the head of the line, because we were ready for it. There's an awful lot of work that we're doing now in preparation for the future, and not just individual planning, but I mean, you can see where this is going. You can see what the consequences of this virus are. They're not good. Even when people, so-called recover, there's still consequences, and we're just prepping our folks to be ready, and that's really the it's so wonderful, really, that you folks made it possible for us to be here. You made it possible to bring back the team so that we can do the work that needs to get done, and that's why we're cutting our fees. That's why we're doing these credits, all kinds of stuff to make it possible for you to get what you need, as opposed to hoping things will take care of themselves.
Right, exactly.
I think it's a wake-up call.
Yeah, I think so too. And thanks so much for stopping by 8West today. Elise, Heather, thank you for sharing your part of the story with us. And davidcarrierlaw.com, a great place to get information. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Terry.
you.